high technology stuff with Paul Brislen. Twitter.com/Paul Brislen, head of the Telecommunications Users Association of New Zealand as well. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well, thank you very much. We caught up last week in Sydney, that's why we weren't here on the Friday.
Because that's just how we roll.
That is how we roll. We were checking out the new Samsung phone, the Galaxy S3.
That's right.
Had a wee hands-on as well.
A little bit of a play, bit of a tutu.
Yeah.
I've got to say, Apple's going to have to lift its game with the iPhone 5 if they want to retain the crown.
Seems like the Android contender, eh?
Well, I think so. There are two of them really in that spot for me. There's the Galaxy S3. Stupid name. They've got to get a better naming convention. And the other one is probably the HTC One X, which is already on sale here in New Zealand. Both of them are very fine bits of kit, but I think probably the Galaxy S3 has a slight advantage. It's got a better set of processors, seems to have a better battery life, a bunch of stuff like that under the hood.
Yeah.
But they both look great, and it's a great sign that people are taking this market seriously, and it's all on, really.
Yeah, indeed. I don't know about the whole inspired by nature side of things personally,
Yeah.
But it looks like a good piece of kit.
Yeah. The screen is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on, one of the big tech stories of the week is LinkedIn and its bad day that it had yesterday.
Had a wee bit of a bad day. Oops, we've apparently lost a whole bunch of passwords. Hey, everyone, can you go and reset your passwords? Now, that's this sort of thing happens frequently, which is why it's important to have unique passwords, because then if somebody does grab your password, all they've got is access to LinkedIn, not then able to go and try it on with whatever else they can find. Because of course, if you use the same password for LinkedIn and then Twitter and then Facebook and then everything else, suddenly you've lost quite a bit of control over your online profile.
Now, apparently these passwords were posted without usernames, just passwords onto a Russian forum, but they were hashed passwords. What does that mean?
I have no idea. I've got to say, the whole world of security is a minefield of strange terms and things of this sort. So it is. It's a very strange setup.
But I guess that means that, I mean, the fact that they were what they call hashed means that they weren't the passwords as written by the user.
No, plain text.
Not plain text.
No, you're quite right. It's disguised to a degree. I won't say.
So they would still need
disguised.
They would still need to be unencrypted by the hackers.
That's right. But apparently they've done that to more than 50% of them, more than 60%. Looking at Computer World US.
Okay.
Which is worrying, companies tell us all the time that we have to take more care with our security. Well, they have to as well. Yeah. Because this kind of thing is not uncommon, and given how much time we spend online these days, it's quite vital. The flip side will be, of course, if they decide that the best way to improve security is, of course, to make us have one of those utterly ridiculous 48 characters, must contain at least one number, one uppercase, three special characters. Must change it every month. And the danger with all of that is, of course, that people do what I do, which is just write your password down.
But there are services, and I'm going to forget what they are, but where you can have a master password.
That's right.
And then that service provides other encrypted passwords to all those various websites that you use. I don't know how it works, but apparently you can do that. I think it's an extension on your browser.
It is, and you log into various sites through this thing. But again, then you've got a single point of failure. If that company stuffs up, then your passwords for everything are exposed. And the other danger is that they do ask you to change passwords on a regular basis, and I find that really quite difficult. The trick to security and to passwords is don't use a word. I've seen people typing in entire phrases or quotes, your favorite quotes. This provides such a high degree of rememberability for you as a user, but difficulty for hacking for any software program that, I think it's absolutely the way to go.
Bad news, Paul, for last.fm users, including myself. They have just posted a message on their website saying we are currently investigating the leak of some Last.fm user passwords. This follows recent password leaks on other sites, including eHarmony, if you're into dating. And so they're recommending all users on Last.fm to change their password.
You know, it's getting to the point where it's getting quite crazy, isn't it? And perhaps we need to start thinking about other forms of login rather than passwords.
Yeah.
I knew one guy, I worked with, the editor of Computer World a few years ago, who used to walk up to his Mac, because he was the only one with a Mac, and it would recognize the Bluetooth signature on the phone in his pocket and log him on.
That's right.
And then when he walked away, it logged off.
Yeah.
And that was his login. And I thought, well, that is actually really quite remarkable. That is very good. And a great idea, because what we're trying to do is prove that you are who you say you are when you approach these particular bits of software.
We're not far away from from mobile phones, essentially, but also websites through webcams authenticating that it's you by iris scanning.
Exactly. And I see lots of complaints about iris scan, but certainly facial recognition software is now at the point where the passport control people are quite happy to use it. I mean, if you've ever come through Auckland Airport lately with a new New Zealand passport, you don't even talk to anybody. You just rock up to the self-check-in. It feels a bit like going through the supermarket.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
And you scan yourself in, and they say, "Welcome, friend."
Yeah.
And that's it.
Welcome, comrade.
Foreigners, we get blocked at the gate and have to talk to people. But, but that's okay, because they always say welcome home, so that's quite nice.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Also news now, the FBI agents who copied data from Mega Uploads founder Kim.com's computers and took it overseas say they were not acting illegally because information isn't physical material.
Yeah.
That's according to the Crown.
Yeah, and this is utter rubbish.
Yeah.
So under the old Crimes Act, the Crimes Act of, I don't know, it was 1963 or something, there was a fairly famous case for those of us in geek circles, Crown versus Wilkinson. And this man had pretended he had lots and lots of property, got himself a huge mortgage, and then when he defaulted on the mortgage said, well, sorry, I don't own that property, and they held him up for fraud. And he was convicted. But on appeal, his lawyer pointed out that nothing had actually been stolen. He had not taken money from the bank. What had happened is one column of numbers had changed and another column of numbers had changed, but it was all done electronically. And without that physical handover of a physical item, there was no theft. And the appeal was upheld. So this led to a major rethink of the Crimes Act, which clearly pointed out that you can't steal something that's not physically there. Yeah. And we introduced an e-crimes component and updated the Crimes Act to reflect this. Now, I don't know if that's the part that's going to govern whether or not the FBI agents took the data and went overseas and it's not physical, so it doesn't count. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it does. And all of this, regardless of whether this is what's happened or not, they're not acting in good faith. No. And I think the judge in this case is probably David Harvey at North Shore, who's been handling the process so far. This is not going to go well when they finally front up and say, okay, we need to extradite him because he's a shocking criminal. Yeah. They're simply not playing by the rules.
If the FBI truly believe what they're saying and that that they could send it overseas because it's not physical, then they shouldn't be charging Kim.com in the first place because they don't believe that. Because he didn't deal in physical things, did he?
He's not moved a single solitary CD anywhere.
Exactly.
It's all just So yes, unfortunately, this is all starting to unravel at greater speed for them. To the point where there's now discussion online around, well, is this actually, is their end game to even have a trial, or have they just ruined his business and that's enough? They'll now go back in their box and move on because, Mega Upload has been completely defeated and taken offline, and that's really all they were after. Yeah. It is quite ridiculous, the extent to which this kind of nonsense is going on. Okay. First they stuff up the warrants going in, then they take a whole bunch of stuff they didn't have authority for, then they make sure that that's changed so that it's retroactively reconfigure the warrants, and now finally here we are. Oh, by the way, we've sent all the data off the shore. Exactly. Quite ridiculous.
Finally, Paul, time for one standout thing for you from E3, something that you saw filter through on the news sites that you thought was pretty cool from E3.
I'm quite keen on seeing the changes that what Microsoft is doing with the Xbox. and moving it from being a game platform, which it's very good at, to being all things to all people in the lounge.
And that second screen.
Yeah. I mean, it's starting to get very interesting, isn't it? And when you mix in the whole Microsoft push into the mobile phone market, albeit very late, plus, of course, they still own the laptop and desktop market. Maybe there's life in the old dog yet. I'm disappointed they didn't integrate more Skype functionality, but I'm
still not there. Still not there. I'd forgotten about that. Internet Explorer on the Xbox, that's going to be cool, and the ability to control what's going on the screen from your phone, from your tablet as well, and across iOS, Android, and Windows devices. That's
exactly. And when you integrate all that together, you've got a home area network, the likes of which actually is science fiction, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Nice one, Paul. Thanks very much.
Good stuff. Anytime.
Twitter.com/Paul Brislen for more of him. Time now here on Kiwi, 21 minutes past.